Can you guys hear me? Anyone? If anyone's here, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. My son was not having bedtime tonight, so I apologize. But please let me know if you can hear me. I'm gonna tap. Can you guys hear the tap? Hi, Alicia. Hi, Sandy. Did you hear that? Okay, good. I'm just gonna set up my computer really quick and kind of get my life together really fast. So I will, just give me 1 second. Okay. I have the chat up so I can see you guys. You guys have all of your supplies. I listed the supplies yesterday, so hopefully you guys were able to go get them. If not, you can follow along, and it's a pretty easy tutorial. So, and I think I said in there, you can use any material you want, but a lot of people had wanted to see the blankets that I make personally for my shop. So I decided to, I'm gonna show you guys basically from start to finish, like how I cut it, what I do, my whole thing. And it's just the way that I do it. So there's, you know, tons of different ways that you guys can do it. This is just the way that I found the easiest for me and the fastest for me when I'm needing to get out orders and blankets for the shop that I'm in locally. So this is just the fastest way for me that I've found to do it. So I'm going to show you guys how I do it that way. But like I said, there are so many different ways to do it. It's such an easy pattern, such an easy make. Like you can literally make these so fast. I think the hardest part is just keeping your room clean because of the faux fur. If you decide to use faux fur, just make sure that you're aware it does make a big mess. So normally when I do my blankets, I make a whole day out of making blankets so that I can just literally have fuzz and fur everywhere. And then I just clean up after I'm done with that after the end of the day. So I keep 1 day for my blanket day. So how are you guys all doing today? If you guys see me blinking a lot, my eyes are so bad today. So I didn't want to cancel on you guys because I want to do this with you. And it's not so bad that like I can't see, they just burn. So I just have to keep blinking. And I'm sure you guys already know I have a bad eye anyway. So some days it hurts more than others. So. Hi, Ediani. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Pia. Hi, everybody. Hi, Karen. And I am so sorry that I don't know how I missed this. I didn't put in the time of the live. I guess I just thought that everybody knew because I do it every Monday at the same time. But I'm going to start putting that on my supplies list. I could have sworn I put it, but I guess I didn't. So I literally was sitting on the couch like 20 minutes ago and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was going through all the comments like, what time's alive? What time's alive? What time's alive? So I'm so sorry about that. I didn't really give you guys enough time. But yeah, hopefully everybody was able to grab their stuff and get on here. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes for people to jump on. Yeah, probably allergies. Hi, Darlene. Yay, thanks for being here. I have another video coming, so look for that. It should be, I can't promise tomorrow because I don't have a babysitter tomorrow, so I'm going to try for tomorrow night. So be looking out for that. It is 8:40 where I'm at right now, so I'm Mountain Standard Time. Okay. I guess we can get started. So I was going to do this print, which I love. This is what I made my son's room in this print. I love this one. But I realized, because this is actually an order, and I realized that they want the name embroidered on it, and I haven't done that yet. And usually if I have a personalized name on here, I do that before I even like start sewing the pieces together. So I would embroider the name on this right now before anything. But because this is a tutorial, I don't want you guys to have to sit through me embroidering the name and all that. So it's fast, but I just picked out a different print. So we're gonna go with this one. I think this one's really cute too. I'm gonna go grab something really fast. So if you guys wanna grab all your supplies, I have my pins. I have my pinking rotary blade. If you don't have this, it's totally fine. You can use scissors, you can use any cutting tool you want. Just know that it's gonna make a mess if you're using Minky fur. And then I haven't even opened it yet. I wanted to show you guys how it comes in when I order it. So this is my backing. This is the faux fur that I get from fabric.com. So I'm gonna open that and cut it. And then I just have my really thin needles. But I have to go grab something, so I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. So I know last time the light was really bad. Is it too bright for you guys? I'm gonna try to shine it down on the table. Tell me how you feel about the light. Okay, so Rose, you're an hour ahead. So that's not too bad. Yeah, so all of my blankets, except for this print right here. Ugh. This is the only print that I use that is not Minky from Spoonflower. This one I actually order from a shop who I didn't know was local to me, but she lives in Phoenix. I live in Scottsdale, so it works perfect. When I order, I get it in like 2 days. But this is the cotton one that I have in stock, and I always have this one in stock, and I just back it with a faux fur. And the reason why I've kept this one is because it's super, super popular, and I sell out of it every time. So why would you take down a listing that sells? Super good. So this is the only cotton one that I carry. I've taken all my other ones out because I just want to stick with the Minky from Spoonflower. That's the look I'm going for. So all of my blankets are from Spoonflower. All of the backing from my blankets I get from fabric.com. So I just pick out my prints, and then I write down if I ever get like a new one, and then what color I need, and then I go on fabric.com, and it's kind of like a surprise, if you say. I kind of go by the color swatches, because you can't just like, I mean, you can order a sample, but then you have to order it, wait for it, and then if you like it, you have to order it again and wait for it. So I just kind of guess on colors, and I haven't ever like gotten any color that I don't like or that I couldn't pair with a print. So that's just how I do it. But you can order samples if you want to go that way. But I have so many different colors. Okay. I'm going to angle the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to look at my computer so I can see. Sorry for having to move you guys. Let's see here. I'm going to angle you down, I think. Okay, let's see. Right here. Is that angle good? It's 10:42. Oh, Sandy, I'm so sorry it's so late. Hi, everyone. I appreciate you guys all joining me tonight. We're going to have fun. This blanket is going to be a quick tutorial. It's just a really quick stitch out, and it's so beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna grab, so what I start with, I've already pre-cut, so whenever I get my yardage in from Spoonflower, I have a electric cutting tool that I use, and I only use that on straight lines because I'm very particular about my patterns, and I only use my rotary blade to cut out my prints, but with blankets, it's just a straight, line, so I can pile up a bunch of the fabric and cut a straight line and have like 6 blankets cut out at one time. So that makes it easy on my hands. It's a quick cutout. I have a bunch of blankets that are ready to go. So that is how I do it. So this one was already pre-cut. I'm gonna put this one back here. So you're gonna wanna cut, I put the measurements on there, but you're gonna wanna cut it. I cut my, so if you're having a directional print like me, on Spoonflower you have the choice to have it printed this way or this way. I always have it printed this way, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but I like my print to be going long ways. So make sure you pay attention to that when you're cutting it. You want your short edge, which is going to be cut at 27 inches. I'm sorry, 28 inches. I cut mine at 27 only because I've done it for so long and I know exactly where to sew it at. So I put an extra inch on your guys's just to give you guys leeway. So you can cut it at 27 if you want, if you're an experienced sewer. If not, cut it at 28 inches to give yourself a little room. So you can make your judgment call on that. And then your length is going to be, I cut mine at exactly 36 inches, but again, I think I put 37 on the supplies list. I can't remember. But when it's all said and done, it's going to be 35 inches. So leave yourself enough room, however much room you think you need. So when the blanket's said and done, I like them to be 27 by 35. That's what I have in my description on all of my listings. And, but yeah, you leave yourself enough room for whatever you think you need. That is just for the front piece, if you're using a pattern. So cut that at that particular measurement. And then the backing, I'm gonna open this. So this is how it comes. I haven't even opened it yet. So it's going to be a big piece, and it's probably, they don't take the time to like clean all the fuzz off. So when I first open it, it's kind of a mess, which I hate, but I do always keep my bags because when I'm done cutting them, I roll them back up and I put them back in the bag and seal it so that it's, dust doesn't get into it, like it just stays nice. And then I put it in the bag and then I put it inside of a bin. So there's no way it can get dirty because I do work in my garage and I am a clean freak, so constantly cleaning. How are you guys doing right now? Am I doing okay? Should I slow down? Hi, Paulette. I'm going to turn my vibration off. I noticed when I watched a video the other night back, it had the vibration on and nobody said anything about it and it kept vibrating. So sorry about that. Okay, sorry. I don't want my phone to fall over. All right, are you guys good to go? Taking notes. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one. And if you guys have watched any of my videos, you know that I cut mine upside down. And I do that because it leaves less mess. So this is black. If you guys can see that, this is what I'm using. My computer is delayed. But yeah, this is the black fabric right here. It's super pretty. But I cut it down on the upside down. with my, what's it called? Knife. One of these things. I always forget the names of things when I'm on here. Anyway, it's a blade. And I have to move this back again, I'm sorry, but it's in my way. Okay. So what I do is you have to bring all this out because you don't want to cut it. Underneath there. And I just lay it nice and straight because I'm already cutting more than the blanket is, so I don't want to cut too much because I don't want to waste a lot of fabric. But I always leave like an inch around the border because it gives me wiggle room, and then I just trim it off at the end. But then I just lay, so I don't have to sit there and measure with my ruler. I just lay this on top, and that is how I measure it. I just leave a little bit on each side. Not a ton, just enough to get you by. And I don't know if you guys can see this corner up here, but I just take my blade. I'll do it down here so you can, I think you guys can see that. There you go. All right, I think that's a little better. So I just take my blade and I don't pierce it all the way through, because if you pierce it all the way through, it's literally just like using your scissors and the fur will get everywhere. So you just puncture it, but don't go all the way through it. Enough to be able to like tear it apart like that, and then it'll tear all the way down. So then I just make a line and go all the way down like an inch off of the border. And then I do the same thing on the other side. It's hard. It's usually not this slow, but I have my phone right here and I don't want to knock you guys over. It's always a challenge on this table with my tripod. Trying not to bounce and knock it over. And I'm short. I have short people problems, so it's hard for me to reach. Okay. So as long as you have your corners connected and everything, I'm going to put this away because I don't want to cut myself. Literally, you just take it, and I know it looks scary, but I promise it's fine. You just rip it. And like some of it's coming off, but like not a ton. And I'm just going to move this over here because I have to flip it upside down anyway. This piece didn't get it all the way. I just snipped it with my scissors because I didn't get that piece all the way. And you just tear it all the way down. But see, no fur is coming off. So now I just take the extra and I fold it in together so that it doesn't make a mess. And then I just put it in the bag. And that way it contains like all the fur and it doesn't make such a mess. Is everyone to this part? Or should I stop for a second? I just want to like lay on this. It's so pretty. Hey, Nita. Hi, Carmen. Hi, everybody. So excited to be here with all of you guys tonight. Please give this video a thumbs up on your way in. I would really, really appreciate it. You guys, I am almost to 2,000 subscribers. So excited. Paulette, the first fabric is just whatever fabric of your choice, but I'm using Minky. So this is Minky and this is faux fur. I always use my print on top as a Minky, which I get from Spoonflower. It's literally just labeled Minky fabric under Spoonflower on their website. And then this is my faux fur that I purchase at fabric.com. All of my faux fur I get from fabric.com. And this is just a black. Any other questions? There is no wholesale account through Spoonflower, but I have like, they call it like a pro account. So I pay every year for the pro account and I get free shipping and upgraded stuff. And then if I order, which I always order over 10 yards, but I think if you order over 10 yards, you get this discount. If you order 50 yards, you get this discount, and 100 yards. So they kind of go up, but you don't get like wholesale pricing, if that makes sense. Of course. Any other questions before we move on? Is that Shannon fur? This is the Shannon Luxe Cuddle. I think it's the Luxe Cuddle. It's the only one that I get. Let me see, it says it on here. I only get this one. Yeah, it's Shannon Minky Luxe Cuddle. It's the only kind that I get. I'm just like, with my shop and my website, I like everything to be like the same. I'm weird like that. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, everyone has their own taste on everything. But for me, I wanted to do obviously a ton of different prints, but I wanted them all to be the same texture and I wanted the backs to be all the same too. I do have choices of like the dimple dot and I have that on there so they can choose between, there's an option to choose dimple dot, but literally everybody likes this, which I understand. Sorry, I need to blow my nose real quick. I'm having such bad allergies today, it's ridiculous. That's sanitizer, just so you know. Hi, Cindy. So Cute Boutique. Where do I buy what from? The print or this? I buy the print from Spoonflower, and I buy this from fabric.com. First Minky fabric today to make the blanket. What is the measurements for the kid blanket 5 to 7 years old? So this blanket right here, I guess I should have told you guys, this is a crib blanket. So this is my baby crib blanket, so newborn to like 2 years old. And then you start moving up in size, which means your pricing moves up. So for a 5 to 7 year old, I would probably double this. Maybe not, I would double the length, probably not the width. So I don't make those size blankets, but if I were to make that, this is 27 inches long. So I'd probably make it like, not double, but probably like 39 to 40 inches wide by, I usually do like 10 inches longer. So maybe like 40 by 50 or something like that. Don't quote me. I don't know. I don't make that size blanket. So I'm just guessing off the top of my head right now. But yeah. The second fabric is literally just an inch bigger than the first fabric. So if you just lay your fabric over. It's just an inch bigger around the whole thing. That's how I do it. You can do it however you want. But if your fabric is 28 inches, make the other one 29 inches. If it is 36 inches long, make it 37 inches long. Just add an inch around the whole perimeter. And then you're going to want to put them right sides together. And Minky moves around. So this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to even it out so it doesn't shift too far on one side. So put your right sides together. If you don't know what that means, you're going to put the two pretty sides. So the print side and then the fuzzy side, they're going to go together. So your backing part on each blanket is going to be facing up where you're looking at it and facing down to the ground. So when we say right sides together, it means the pretty part that you want people to see, those two pieces need to be facing together. Thank you, Mary. I know, it's so cute. I love it. It's super soft, and it actually, if you listen to the directions, the washing instructions that you send out to each customer, if they actually pay attention and wash them the correct way, it stays like this forever. These last for a really long time. My son still has his from when he was born, and he uses it every day. I wash it all the time, and it's still super, super soft. You cannot dry this, so I always say dry naturally. If you do dry it, tumble dry on low heat, because faux fur will, I don't want to say melt, but it does. Like if it's heated too much, it will shrivel. So you do not want to heat it on high heat. So sometimes I'll dry it naturally, and then if it's really like wrinkled or whatever, I'll throw it in the dryer and I'll just tumble dry it just to get it like fuzzy. So on my washing instructions, I just say wash with mild detergent, and then you dry naturally. I put dry naturally on all of my stuff, even my clothing, because it's organic. All of my stuff is organic. This isn't organic, but it's really, really nice Minky, and this is really, really nice faux fur. So everything that I make and sell, I just say dry naturally, because drying naturally won't let it shrink, and it will keep the longevity of the fabric. So the printed fabric, yeah, it's actually should be 35 by 27. But 36 is fine too. It doesn't really matter. Exactly, another reason to go shopping, Mary. It's okay, Sarah, don't worry about it. It's literally like, honestly, like I just made up this size. So you guys can make your blanket whatever size you want. I literally just measured my son's crib and thought that this was a good size. I made it for him and I ended up liking it, so I kept that size. But if you look on Etsy, everyone has different sizes. Like if you look up like, I can't remember who asked about the 5 to 7-year-old blanket, just look that up on Etsy, and literally every listing you go to, they'll have different sizes. So it's literally just what you prefer. There's no exact size for a blanket. Good night, Sandy. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, are we all ready? So that blanket is Minky and faux fur. Yes, Kimberly, it's Minky and faux fur. The faux fur I use on all of my blanket backing. And the Minky, I think I said that right. The Minky, which is this, printed, is my printed side. I always use Minky from Spoonflower. This is my faux fur I get from fabric.com, and I always use this for the backing on my blankets unless somebody messages me and asks for something specific, like the dimple dot or a smooth like fur, because they have smooth like smooth Minky like this, but it's the fur. There's all different kinds. This is just the kind that I like, and I wanted my look for blankets to be. Okay. So the reason why I have this, if you're wondering, this is just a cheapie. I don't use it very often. I use it all the time to cut my blankets, but it doesn't have to be like a great one. Like you're just cutting the corners. So I don't make this backing too much larger than the front, because then you're cutting off a ton of excess fabric, if that makes sense. So after we sew it, we're going to cut the corners, and that's why I have this. So you don't have to use that. You can use scissors. You can use whatever you have on hand. But are we ready to start pinning? I'm going to show you how I pin. Quote top and then backing is whatever size the top is. Reason why I didn't buy enough. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I said, I made this blanket measurement up. So I always cut my fronts out. When I first get my bulk fabric in, I cut all my blanket pieces out. And then the extra that I have, I use for my loveys. And then whenever I'm needing to make a blanket, you saw me just take out the black fur, lay it down, and then I put this on top of it. And then that's how I cut out my backing. So I don't pre-cut my backing. I wait until I need it. I swear, this computer. Okay. Alrighty. Time to pin. I hope you guys have a lot of pins, but I've actually been pinning it a little bit differently because my old pinning was taking forever and it was taking way too long and I just could not handle it. So I always put a tag on my blanket. So if you're going to put a tag on your blanket, you can do it in any corner you want or any side, wherever you want to place it, that's fine. Just make sure you leave. I only leave maybe 3 inches, if that, open, because this is so soft, it'll literally just slide right through the corner that is open. So make your own judgment call on how big you want your opening. Just know that when you go to top stitch it, you have to top stitch that opening closed and have it look good. So I do a top stitch around the whole blanket though. So that's also your decision if you like a look of a top stitched blanket or with nothing. So I always put my tags, I always place it the same way. So my fabric is a directional fabric and I have my bisons going forward. I do the same thing with my clothing. I have it always facing the same exact way. And so I always know that my tag is going to go on this corner, because when you flip it the right side out after you sew it, my tag is actually going to be on this side, because if you think about it, it's inside out right now. So when you flip it over and you go to top stitch, your opening that you left is going to be on the opposite side. So keep that in mind where you want to place your tag. If you want your tag to be on the right side when looking at it, leave your opening on the opposite side. That's what I do. And I always put my pin parallel to the side of the blanket, the edge of the blanket, wherever I want my tag to go. That just reminds me that that's where my tag is going. And then I always start with my corners so that it doesn't move around when I'm pinning. I put a pin diagonal, or like 45-degree angle with the corner. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. So I go to each corner and I just put it at a 45-degree angle to the corner. That way the corners aren't moving, nothing's shifting, everything's going to be fine. So I'm doing that to each corner, and that's how I start my blanket. Do you guys have any questions? Hope I'm not missing anything. Hi, Shar. Okay, so this is where my tag's going, and I know that This is how I'm pinning. I always pin not parallel, but perpendicular to now the edge. I hope I'm using, Nita, you're a teacher, correct me if I'm saying the wrong words. But now my pins are going this way instead of parallel to the edge. So we're gonna put them this way along the edge, and I do them every inch to inch and a half. That's a lot of pinning. Do it like that all the way around the entire blanket. So ready? Let's go. I always put 2 pins on the corners too. Each corner gets a pin. Don't forget to leave your opening. So I guess I'm pinning about 2 inches apart. It doesn't need to be super tiny. I was just gonna say it feel like it got so quiet in here, but nobody can talk to me. I can't hear you guys, so obviously it's gonna be quiet. Sometimes I think that you guys are gonna talk back, and I can't hear you. Okay, so what I do, because I'm short, and blankets are hard to like reach across, so I do the front line, or this line right here, up to that corner, and then I do this line by me, and then I do as much of this one as I can, and then I fold it up, pull it down, and finish off the back piece. And I'll re-explain that when I get to it again. And then another tip, if you want to look at what I'm doing right now, I always put 2 pins right here, just like finger width apart, so they're a little bit closer than these ones. So I know that this is going to be where I'm locking my stitch, and then this is the opening of where I'm putting my tag. So I always put 2 and 2. That way I know that's my start and my end point. So there's 2 needles here, or pins, and 2 pins here. I know I'm leaving this open right here, and I won't stitch that when I'm sewing it together. I leave that open, and then I continue on with my pinning. Don't look at my nails. I'm really embarrassed about them right now. It's been way overdue. I have not been able to go get them done. So I'm moving around the corners. I'm going to do this one, and then I'll show you how I do this one up here. I've learned how to do these in a small area because when my brother's out here helping me cut, you'll see when I upload my next video, we're both out here working together, and he's right here cutting, and I'm over there cutting, and so when I'm doing blankets, it's kind of a struggle, but I've learned how to do it. And if you guys have any questions, when I'm done pinning this, I will sit and answer questions if you have any, and I will look back up at the feed. But I just want to get this pinned so that we can move along. This shouldn't be a 4-hour deal. Blankets are super simple. I am planning on working after this, so whoever wants to join me and stay on while I work is more than welcome to. But I will announce that at the end when we are finished with this. Okay, so I finished with what I can reach. So now what I do is I just fold it over because everything is pinned. It's not going to move. lift it up and I just gently pull it forward, and then nothing happened to it. So now I can reach it and I don't have to struggle with pinning. I know some of you are probably like, why don't you throw needles down in front of it? That way you can just have them right there instead of on this. I've done that before, and this right here, this material snags, and if the needle or pin, I always call it needle, I don't know why. If the pin gets caught in here and I pull it, then it's gonna snag. So I always keep my on this. Okay, so now that I am done pinning the whole blanket this way on the edges, I'm just gonna go in on like no particular order. I'm just gonna throw a few sideways parallel ones. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, just like a few of them. It doesn't have to be every wherever you feel you want one. Because the second pin is the one that actually holds the Minky in place, but you don't have to have 1,000 of them. And I pin it about 1.5 inches to 2 inches away from the edge. That way you don't have to take them out. You can just sew and you don't have to worry about them. And then I already have my corner one right here. I put a pin right here, and I have my corner one. So now I'm not going to put one right here. I'm just going to move and put one right here. On each side. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with pulling it back and unfolding it. Because I can't reach. I'm too short. I was so frustrated because I was out here, and the reason why I was late was A, well, my son didn't want to go to sleep, but B, I was trying to do, last minute, of course, I was trying to make a thumbnail on Canva, and for some reason, it would not upload to my phone. So I had to just make a random thumbnail, so it's not a great one. All right. Questions. I'm going to look at my phone right now real fast. Let's see. I do not do this on my serger rows. I just use my standard sewing machine. I mean, I'm sure you can, but I don't. I just use my standard sewing machine for the way that I do it. Cuddle blankets, big sellers on Etsy. What do you mean by cuddle blankets? Like what size? Let me see. I'm going to go up in the chat. Bye, Cindy. Thanks for popping in. Let's see. I'm just looking at the comments, guys, trying to answer any of your questions. Okay, I'm up to see. Alicia, I just read your message. I think that too, Amber. I wave when you say hi. I always am like, oh, they're talking to me. And yeah, you can't hear them. Nellie, welcome, first of all. And yes, I am making a baby blanket. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Do you guys have any questions right now? Pamela Renee, my blanket that I'm making is going to turn out to be 27 by 35. Stephanie, my lovey, I made myself. I make all my patterns, and I will be doing a live on the lovey. Let me look at my calendar. Hold on, I can tell you right now. Sorry guys, my allergies, man. Let's see here. It's gonna be in March. So maybe. Today I'm doing a blanket. Maybe it's not. I know I have it down. We're on the 22nd doing a blanket. I guess I didn't have it down. I'll have to relook. I know I wrote it down though. I don't know. I'll have to put it in there though and let you guys know. Yeah, I didn't write it. I have it all the way up until April or the end of March, but apparently I didn't put it in there, so I will have to rearrange that because I wanted to do that for you guys. Thank you, Alicia. Let's see. I would like to know if we can type on capital letters whenever we have a question. Yeah, that's fine, because if it's like an important question, or yeah, if you have a question, you can do caps. But PJ Mommy usually does caps when I have a record of my internet not working. And so whenever I see caps, I'm like, alert, alert. So just try not to do it like all the time, I guess. Yes, I thought I would throw in the regular machine since we do sergers a lot. Do you need a heavy sewing machine to sew baby blankets? No, you don't. I use my nice Janome, but you can use my brother, my standard, the first machine I ever had doing the blankets. You can use that too. You can use whatever you have. Like, honestly, it's just a straight stitch. I know, Alicia, I love mine too. Isn't it amazing? If I'm monogramming the blanket, you do that before pinning. Yes, that's why I switched prints, because I was going to do my cactus print, but I have to embroider the name on that. So I would embroider the name on the print before pinning it on the blanket. Yes. So I would cut out my top side of my blanket, which has the print on it, and then I would embroider the name on there, and then I would obviously clean up, take the stabilizer off and all that, and then pin it. And do you use a walking foot to sew the Minky and Lux Cuddle together? My machine has a built-in walking foot, so I do suggest a walking foot. I had that on the supplies list if you were able to grab that. If you don't have one, it's fine. It's doable. It just makes life easier if you have a walking foot, because Minky shifts. So it kind of is frustrating if you don't have a walking foot, but you can do it. It's doable. Hi from New Mexico. Hi, Bonnie. How are you? It'll be highlighted. Yes, actually, Ediani, thank you for saying that, because I'm sure you guys all know, I've said it 1,000 times like a broken record. I have a bad eye, so I have to like really look at the computer. But I do always notice when you highlight my name and it's in red, it literally catches my attention. So if you want to tag my name at Being a Bliss, then that would really, really help me. Sorry, I just touched the microphone. What would you say is the best sewing machine to start with for beginners? So I'm a huge Brother fan for beginners. And I still have my Brother machines, even though I'm like more intermediate, but I love my Brother machines. They don't ever give me problems. I have completely worn them out, but they are still going strong. So I can show you what I'm using on a day-to-day basis after we get done sewing this, if you're still on, and we can kind of go over sewing machines at the end. Okay, so now we're getting into stitch link and stuff. I'll go over that when I go to the sewing machine. Are you guys all ready to move over to the machine? So once we pin it and it's all pinned, now we're ready to go over to the sewing machine. Are we all at that step? Okay. I'm going to move my phone. I'm going to plug it in so it doesn't die. That would be bad. So give me 1 second. And I got to figure out where I'm going to put you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, if you get motion sickness, you might not want to look for a second because I am moving you. Okay. Let's see here. All right, does it look good to you guys? Are you facing the right way? I will move you closer. I just want to make sure you guys can see everything the right way and it's not backwards. Let me move all my stuff. All right. Now, grab your blanket, and remember, I always start with where I left my space for my tag open. That's the part that I start at. So if you want to do it the way that I do it, that's how I do it. So I'm literally just taking my blanket and putting it on my machine. This is where my opening is going to be. So I always start on this part. I never start on the corner because it gets all caught and I just have bad luck doing that. So I always start down towards the bottom of the opening, or I guess it would be the top of the opening. And when I'm getting situated, I always put my presser foot down because I'm not ready to go yet. And then I just put my blanket up so it's not everywhere. And now I'm going to try to figure out where I can put you guys so you can see everything. So give me 1 second. How does that look? Is that close enough? You're literally just sewing a straight stitch, and I'll go through all the points on it. Good night, Bonnie. Thanks for stopping in. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay. So you see, I line my presser foot up with the edge of the fabric. And I always keep my needle in the middle. So I guess that would be a half an inch. That's just how I do it. I just always, because I always have this extra fur over on the side right here. And I always line my presser foot up with the edge of the blanket, and that just keeps it in line. It keeps it flat. There's not a lot of moving around, and it's just the way that I've always done it. That just keeps me in line. It's just the easiest way for me. Okay, so this machine always keeps my last stitch, and because this is the machine I use for my blankets, I always just press OK, because the last stitch I did was on a blanket. So I'm going to press OK, and actually, I take that back. I used this for something else last time, but it's going to be the same thing. It's my locking, because the last stitch I did was my top stitch. So when you're sewing the blanket together to begin with, I have the needle in the middle. So you have a little bit larger seam allowance. When I do my top stitch, I move it over to the side a little bit because I don't like a huge, top stitch from the edge. I don't know what that terminology is, but I like a little closer to the edge. So I'm going to go, I put it at, I make my needle in the middle. So on my machine, it's a 4.5. And then the length of your stitch, I leave it at a 4, because with Minky fabric, you want it a little bit bigger, if that makes sense, because it is stretchy material. And I also put in stretch needles on the supplies list. You want stretch needles, so make sure you're using a stretch needle. You can use a universal needle. It just won't probably stitch out as good. You might have a little bit more of a struggle, because this, even though it's inky, it's a stretch material. So the stretch needle just works better. Okay, going back to needle. So my length is a 4, and the tension, I take it all the way down to a 1, because the fur, I don't know how to explain it well, I guess, you're going to get for it to bunch up, if that makes sense. Loosen up your tension, it'll glide through there a lot easier. Tension to go all the way down to a 1. That's my setting, and that's how I've done it. You can try different tensions and mess with it if you want to, but this is the way that's worked for me. Good night, Mary. Thanks for stopping in. Yes, the AM does come very fast. Sandy, am I cutting in and out? It looks fuzzy on my computer right now. Uh-oh. Okay. Let me see if I fix that. Okay. Is it better, or is it still buffering? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to fix it. It's all fuzzy. My phone looks perfectly fine, but my computer is not. All right, is it doing better or no? Shoot. Okay. Okay. I'll go back. Where did I leave off on? Okay. Thanks, Carmen. Yes, you can use a walking foot. A walking foot is actually recommended. This machine has a built-in walking foot, and I have a walking foot on my other machine that I keep on it at all times, even if I'm not sewing a blanket on my other machine. I always use a walking foot just because walking foot helps the movement of everything glide through the machine a lot easier and smoother, if that makes sense. Okay. So I was at stitch length. Okay, so my needle is in the middle position, and on my machine, that's a 4.5. So every machine is probably going to be different, but make sure your needle's in the middle. My length of my stitch is at a 4, and I was saying you want your stitch to be longer because with Minky fabric, it helps it to move along easier, so it doesn't get caught up underneath the plate. My tension, I turn my tension all the way down to a 1. And that is because with Minky fabric and faux fur, any kind of furry fabric is very finicky, if that's the right word. So you want your tension to be, I don't have it the lowest, obviously that's a 0, so I keep it at a 1, but I've messed with all the settings, and this is the one that works best for me. You can use any settings you want, but with Minky fabric, the lower the tension, the easier it is, and it doesn't get bunched up. So if the tension is tight, the fabric won't move underneath, and it'll get all bunched up like this. And you don't want that, obviously. So you want it to move as smooth as you can get it to. And that's also why a walking foot helps, because it helps glide it along under there nice and smooth. So did all of that make sense? And am I okay now? Okay. So if you guys all have that ready, what I do is obviously put your needle down. And it's going to be hard because I usually hold it like this, but my arm's going to be in the way. So I'm going to do it this way and try to keep my blanket up. But remember, start at the beginning of where you left your opening. This is my opening right here, which is behind my needle. So start above it. And I always hold my Minky fabric up a little bit. I elevate it so it's not just like stuck down, because if it's on your machine, it tends to not like go through it very easily. It gets stuck. So I'm just gonna slowly start it, and I'm lifting it up a little bit and pull, and keep my fabric. So your presser foot is going to be on the of your blanket. And if you're wondering, yes, this is my choice. I am sewing over my needles because these are literally so thin and they have never ever caught, but I know that it is recommended to take your needles out. So take your needles out. I don't want to be the cause of your machine breaking. So Yeah, user's discretion. Just adjust as you go. This is awkward for me because I'm doing it with my arm on the other side, so you guys aren't looking at my arm. Be careful not to poke yourself with the pins because that doesn't feel good. And I'm just lightly lifting it up right here, so it's lightly lifting up. I don't know why that happened. Okay. All right. Am I all good? And then when I get to the corner, you just lift your lever up. Mine's in the back, and then you just pivot and turn. You don't have to take your blanket out. You just pivot your corner at a, I think that's a 90-degree angle, and you just pivot and turn. And just keep going. All right. This is hard. Now, it looks like this got folded over when I go through, but it doesn't. I used to always think it was folding, but it's not. It's just the Minky fabric looks like that, and then when I take the needles out, it literally lays flat. So, trick. It's like an illusion. And then also another thing, the reason why I do the needle in the middle and not over more toward the edge is because the presser foot like flattens the fabric. So if I were to move the needle over more when I'm trying to stitch this right now, my Minky fabric shifts a lot. So it would like actually go in towards the middle. And then I used to run into problems where I would go off the edge and have to redo it and all that. But I've noticed if I keep it in the middle, it's just a straight through. Like there's never any like mess up. Sometimes I do take my corners out because right here, see how it did that? So I'll take my corners out. I'll lift up my presser foot and just flatten it back out, and then I'll hold it down. Again, pivot and turn. Try not to hit my phone. If you guys are wondering what kind of thread I use, I literally use the same thread for everything. It's the Gutermann brand. I get it at Joann's. It looks like this. Here I have one right here. I leave this on my handy dandy stand over on the side back here because this machine, I don't have to unthread all of it. If I need to wind a bobbin, I can just put it on the thread stand and do it for that and then make one. So I always leave this on there, but this is the thread that I use. It's Gutermann, 100% polyester, and this is the 1,000 meter one. So I get these at Joann's, and I use that brand for my serger thread and my sewing machine thread. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna do it real quick because the other way was taking forever. And then I'll stop when I get to the other end so I can show you how to end it. So I'm at the corner again, and I'm just gonna lift it up and pivot and turn. Every corner, you don't take it out, you just keep going. And like I said, I keep my needles in. You can take yours out if you want to, but that's just user's choice. Ah, sorry guys. I don't know why it's bunching up right here. If that happens, I just take my needles out. So that is why I leave more room, because sometimes it gets finicky and there's no reason for it. It just happens because it's Minky and it shifts. So I hold it down the best I can until I get to the next one, and then I take it out. And I just keep doing that all the way down until I get to the corner. I shift it. So these edges, the top and bottom, are the stretchy way. So the long edges, they always sew nicely. It's the top and bottom of the blanket that usually give me problems. But I just go slow on the edge, and it's not that much of a deal. It's just you just take the pins out as you're going. At least that's how I do it. And just straighten it out. And I know that these are my two right here, so I'm just going to sew here and then sew up a little bit, and that's how I finish it. So see how I'm holding it? But that's why I left an inch around on each side. So I'm getting to the corner, and then I'm going to pivot and turn just like all the other corners, but this is where I'm ending it. So do exactly the same thing that you've done on all the corners, and I just go up like an inch, and then I lock my stitch. I have a locking stitch. If you don't, just back stitch, and then that's where you're going to end it. Any scissors over here? I broke my scissors that I usually use over here. I dropped them and they don't work anymore, and I'm really upset because I loved them. Okay, do you guys have any questions before we move to the other next step? Let's see. Oh, Sandra, it's okay. You can always rewatch it. That's what's good about the lives. What did I miss? Let's see. All right. Just the pinning. Walking foot is best for sewing Minky. Yes, for sure. I love Gutermann thread. I have never had thread breaks or any other issues since I started using it years ago. Yes, Kay, that's the only thread that I use. I know that you could probably find like more professional thread or whatnot, but I don't change. I stick with what I like, and that is what I like, and that's what I've always used. And yeah. Where did you get your sewing table that is attached to your machine? This is a Sew Steady table. I will show you. If you can see that, let it focus. Can you guys see that? So if you go to their website, you can actually order this table. It's huge. I know it doesn't look that big on camera, but it is, I think, 36. So it's 3 feet by, I think it's like 28 by 36 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But it has this nice little drawer right here that I keep my tags and like for my boy shorts, I have a drawstring that I put on them. Just to get out of the way. But this is why I sew my blankets over here, because this table. And usually it's a lot smoother if I don't have my phone filming right in front of me. So it's a little awkward in that situation. But yeah, okay. I'm going to move you guys back over here. So sorry I keep moving you. But I'm just going to show you. Actually, I'm going to put you right here so I don't drop you. Put you right like that so you can see. Okay, so now you're just going to remove all your pins. So do that step, and I just take them all out. You don't need any of them anymore. So I usually just remove my inner ones first. And this part I will throw them in the middle because this is magnetic and it will pick them up at the end. So I just go through and take them all out. Got quiet again, you guys. All right. I think I got them all. Just go around it, make sure you got them all because you don't want to flip it and then you get poked. That's why I like this magnetic thing, because you can do that and it picks it all up. It's really nice. Let's see. What size labels do you use? I'm having the hardest time deciding which to go with. So my labels are actually, you fold them in half. They're sew-in labels, and they are 3/4 of an inch by 1.5 inches long, which makes them 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And I have a girl one and a boy one. So these are my so when you fold them like this, one side has my logo and the other side has my Cure NF, and you sew it in. She leaves room on the top right here to sew it in like that. So they're just really tiny, and I like them tiny because I sew all kids stuff, and so they need to be small. Zoa, I get my tags from Mountain Street Arts. They're linked in my description. Okay. I can hear, I can see her. Am I good, you guys? Is it still all messing up? Okay. Hopefully I'm good. I'm gonna get going though. Okay, so your next step now, if you have a pinking blade or even pinking scissors, like I have these over here that I used to use. These are even pinking just with the zigzag. They look weird. They're like teeth. don't know if you can see that. So anything that has like that, it keeps it from shedding a lot. It's still gonna shed, but not as much. So you're gonna cut your corners at an angle. Don't cut off the stitching. So cut above it. I barely cut my corners off. So I barely cut them off. Like, you don't need to cut them off a ton. And then I just move my pieces to the side. Don't cut wherever, so my opening is over here. Leave your opening until I get over there and I'll show you how I do it. Cut all the other edges. And this is also where my handy dandy little handheld vacuum comes into play. That is also linked in my description. So I just pull all these aside, but see all that fur? It's gross. It freaks me out because I hate a mess. So I usually do 2 sides. And yes, I'm going to use it. It's going to get loud for a second, but I have to use it. I need to change my blade. It's getting everywhere. So if you guys ever notice when you use your blade and you need to change it, there's always one little piece that doesn't cut through. And that's how I know I need to change my blade. Okay, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this little guy right here. It is so tiny, it literally fits in my hand. And you charge it. You literally, it's like a phone charge. You just stick it in the USB and it's awesome. So I'm just getting up the pieces that fell on my floor. So every time I do a blanket, I do 2 sides. I cut it, and then I get all the fur. A, because it's a mess in my shop, but B, I don't want to send the client, or not client, the customer, a blanket that has all this fuzz in it. And even though it's in the inside, I don't know, that just like is dirty to me. So you don't want to do that. So get as much of the fuzz off as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to get as much off as you can because it literally just comes off. And then what I do is just turn it and do the other 2 sides. Make sure you cut your corners at an angle. Okay, so this is my opening right here. I'm going to I'm cutting it at an angle basically. So I'm going to come over here and show you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Would that work for vacuuming out your bobbin area on your machine? I've tried and it works, but not as good as I would like it to. So I don't use it for my machine. I'm going to turn you guys around really quick and show you what I mean. Okay, so this is my opening right here. See how there's a flap? This is my opening. So when I cut it, I'm going to cut this piece right here, and then I'm going to angle it up and then angle it into the corner. That way when you flip it inside, it fits in there, and it's not, you don't want it straight on because then you'll have a little lip right here and you don't want that. You want it to fit inside that hole, and this piece is going to be smaller. So you're basically going to cut it like that. I guess I could have done that in the beginning. It would have been a lot easier. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to put you right here so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. For now. I'm going to have to move you again, but for now. So I'm cutting it, and then I just go up. So I cut and I go up to angle it. And then I go diagonal down, and then I cut along the whole edge. And I just cut by the edge of this blanket. I cut on the edge of that. But see all that fur? Makes a giant mess. But I leave this big, and I'll tell you why. Because when I do my top stitch, I want it to catch, and I don't want it to be able to open up after they wash it and stuff. So you want it to stay, you want it to be a little bit thicker right there. There's a reason why I do everything, and you'll soon find out why. Again, I'm self-taught. There are things that, you know, you pick up from everybody, but then like there's other things where you're like, I wish I could do this a little bit different or figure out a way for this or that or whatever. So these are just like some of the tricks that I've taught myself. I'm sure that, but you know what I mean. So this part's annoying, but yeah, you gotta. Otherwise, when you flip it, you're gonna get hair everywhere. Okay, so now I didn't cut this corner, so I gotta cut that one. And I didn't cut this one. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. And then you just take your hand. I usually take my my thumb and my pointer finger and stick it through here, and I grab my top piece and I just keep grabbing it and pulling it, and I go to the very opposite corner. And then I grab that opposite corner with my thumb and pointer finger that I had in the inside. I take the corner and I push it in the hole. This is my pointer finger and my thumb. And then now it's in the hole, and I just literally like go like this, and the whole blanket like pops out of that little hole that I left. The whole blanket just comes right out. So then you just grab the blanket. I usually try to find the two top corners as best as I can. And I don't shake it, but I just kind of like fluff it out. And before I lay it back down on my table, I take my handy dandy duster, and I just get all the excess like fur off of my table, so I'm not putting that fur back on the finished blanket. Because you would be surprised, look at all that fur that just came up off of the blanket after I vacuumed. If you guys haven't picked up yet, I'm a clean freak. And I also come over here and do my table, because the fur has gotten everywhere and you want to keep it clean. Okay, now that that is done, so my opening was number, and queen your technique. What? Aw, thank you. You guys are so sweet. So now my opening's on the opposite side. Remember I said when you fold it inside out, and now it's the right side, your tag is going, or your opening that you had is going to be on your opposite side. So this is my opening now. I'm just showing you guys so you can see the whole thing. And then this is where you take anything, this is like a chopstick, but anything that has a pointier edge that's not going to puncture your fabric. And I just stick it through that hole. And usually I can get my whole hand in here without like stretching it out. And I just go from corner to corner and lightly, not tough, don't push it out, as you know, because it will go through. So just lightly do it. And it's going to go through anyway because it's Minky, there's holes, but you don't want to like puncture it. So just lightly go through. That's why I top stitch, because it is so, not delicate, but I don't know the word. Fine? I don't know. And it's not thin, but it's holy. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You just want to point your corners so it looks like a nice clean cut blanket. And then what you're going to do is grab a tag. I'm going to grab a drink of water. Sorry about that. Okay, so I put my tag. So the reason why I left this out like that is because when it folds in, can you guys see this? No, let me move it up. Okay, the reason why I left this piece bigger, you want to fold it in here and it tucks away. But this piece right here isn't very, we didn't leave it very big. So we want to compensate for that by making this piece a little bit larger. And it's so soft, they're not going to feel it. And especially when we top stitch over it, it'll top stitch that closed and nothing will ever be seen. You won't be able to tell there was even an opening there. But for me to know that I put that opening there, I take one of my clips, I take 2 pins, and I take my tag. And I always like my tag to be at the very end, so I put it inside and I push it all the way down. So that's where I stopped sewing right there. And that's where my tag's going to go. So I'm going to put my pin, one of my pins in here, and I'm going to take it out when I go to sew it. I have to do it this way. Sorry, guys. You know when you get used to doing it a certain way and you can't, it's hard to do it any other way? That's what I'm dealing with right now. So just make sure you push that in enough. And I always make sure like my fur, like if I want that much fur, I keep that much fur out along the whole edge. And then I put my tag in and scoot it all the way down to the end. But that's your own preference, wherever you want your tag. You can put your tag in the middle if you want. You can put it wherever you want. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. Like, we're all creators and we all have our own way of doing everything. So there should be no judgment on who does what. That's why we create our own stuff. And like everyone's going to have the same, you know, blanket or the same style of clothing or whatever, but everyone has their own vision of what they want it to be. And like, say I used that print over here for a clothing piece, but so did somebody else, but they look totally different because we made them different, even though they were the same. I don't know. You guys get what I mean. Everyone has their own vision. So now I'm taking this. I'm going to move you guys. Give me 1 second. Put you back over where you were to begin with. After I get my computer back on. Okay. If you had embroidered on a side. Yes, okay, so that's a good question. If I have my blanket, say this is my blanket, right? say you, let's see, you can't see that. Say this is my Lovey blanket, but if this was just a regular blanket and I always embroider their name when I'm looking at it in this right corner, and I always do it diagonally at a 45-degree angle. If I have a blanket with a name on it, I always put my tag on the opposite side because I don't want the name and then the tag. But that's just my personal choice. You can put your tag wherever you want, but I always do it opposite. So if they order a completely unembroidered Lovey, I always put my tag on the right side. But if they have it embroidered, I put it on the left side. If that makes sense. Okay. Is everything good, you guys? Is it working all good now? Okay. I'm going to refresh this really quick. Do you guys have any questions before we move on? I'm trying to pronounce your name and I don't want to mess it up. So tell me if I'm saying it right. Adishia? So sorry. Disha. So the E is silent. Perfect. Thank you. I get so nervous when I say names because let me tell you, everybody has such unique, different names, and it's like I don't want to mess them up. I have such a hard time. Okay, so when we top stitch, you're gonna leave your length and your tension the same. Don't touch those. But you're gonna wanna move your needle over, and this part is up to you. I always do it where it's like 1/4 of an inch off the edge. But like I said, you can do it however you want. That's just the look that I like. I like it to be a little bit smaller. So for that instance, I started out in the middle, which was a 4.5 on my machine. Now I'm moving it over to an 8, which isn't quite 1/4 of an inch. It's a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch, but my machine goes all the way over to a 9, and I feel like the 9 is like too far on the edge to where it kind of wiggles a little bit, and I don't like that. So that's why I've set it at an 8, and I've kept it there at the 8, and I just like the way that looks. So this part, you can do it however you want. There's no right or wrong way. It's just what you like. And you're just going to top stitch around the whole thing, and that's what we call a top stitch because you're doing it on the top of the blanket, and it's just going around the whole blanket. And right here in my videos, if you guys ever see me using this thing, it is because I just use this little poker and I put it in the very, very corner of the blanket behind the needle so it doesn't touch the needle. And I just guide it along because if I just sit here and let it go, the Minky and faux fur will literally just get caught underneath the needle plate. So I use this to guide it, and it literally just, if you watch, it just smoothly goes underneath the needle or the presser foot. So see how it just went, and I barely pushed it along. And now that it's already under there, I can put that down and I can just start sewing now. And make sure that, because if you're using the fur, make sure that you're leaving the same amount of fur on the side. See how this black is showing through over here? You can't really tell, but I'm leaving a little tiny bit of fur on the edge, and I just like it that way. You can do it however you want, but that's the look that I like. And then I just readjust and I go. And I always start, I forgot to say this, I always start, if you're holding the blanket holding it up and you're looking at it right straight on, I always start with the upper corner on the right. So if you're holding the blanket looking at it the right way, the right corner, that's where I always start, because my tag is always down in the right bottom corner. And so it just is a straight line, and then I can sew my tag in and it's no problem. So when I get to this point, I just readjust my blanket, make sure my faux fur is even all the way around. I just grab it and I just keep sewing. Ah, something just happened. Maybe? We'll see. No? Okay. No. That was weird. Everything weird happens to me on a live. Like this, like that's never happened, and I don't know what that was, but now it's doing fine, so I'm gonna go with it. Okay, so this is where my opening is now, because I can tell my needle, I always put 2 needles in. I always put a needle where the start of the opening is and where the end of the opening is. That way I know to double check that my little tag or my little piece of fabric that I left longer is tucked in nicely and evenly, and that my top fabric is folded over nicely right here and it's laying flat, and I push my hand flat on it and then I pull from the back just gently and guide it along, and then that way I know that it has been sealed shut. And then my tag, if it's gotten crooked or anything, I just make sure it's nice and straight. And I can always hear when the needle goes through my tag. And you want to make sure you stop with enough room, like so that it's even all the way around. So the same thing that I did when we sewed it together, I do the same thing. I line my edge of my blanket up with the edge of this. I am actually going to, just to be safe, because I don't know if that got messed up or not. It doesn't look like it got messed up, but I don't want to sew the whole thing with it like that. So I'm just going to readjust, and I'm taking this out because I'm just going to re-thread my machine, because I heard a really weird noise and I don't want to continue on if something's wrong, and I don't want to have to redo my whole entire thing. So I'm just going to do this really fast. So what you do is cut. I cut my thread down here. Or actually, I cut it right here. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Cut this, pull this out. Okay. So, sorry guys, I'd rather be safe than have to do this whole thing over again. So it's super easy, you just pull it through. This one machine, I had to get a little bit used to it with threading. The needle especially was different than my brother. My brother was so easy compared to this one, but I mean this one's easy too now that I know how to do it, but there's always like a, you know, trial and error in the beginning. Okay, so back to sewing. I'm going to put my needle down and start. Okay. That sounds better. Something was up with that, and I don't know what it was, but We're good. All right. Make sure your fur is all nice and straight underneath whenever you're sewing it so it doesn't get all bunched up. And I usually always do like a contrast color on the front and the back. That way I can see my lines where I'm going. I'm lining the edge of this up with my white fabric. Pivot and turn. Yes, much better. Something was up with that. I don't know. I don't know what it was. All right, we're almost there. But see how it just glides along like really nicely with the walking foot? If you don't have one, it's fine. You can still do this. It's just really nice if you do have one. Pivot and turn. This one's so pretty. I haven't made this one yet. I've only made it in a lovey, but now I need to get a picture of this. So when you come up to the very end, I have a locking stitch, so I'm just going to press that, and it's going to lock it. But if you don't have a locking stitch, you can forward stitch and back stitch a couple, and then you're done. So I just cut my threads on the back, and we have a blanket. I'm going to go over to the table and lay it out so you can see it. How long would this normally take you to sew? Blankets take me like maybe 20 minutes. I feel like everything takes me like 20 minutes. All right, looks good. I'm folding it up for you guys so you can see what it looks like. It's so pretty. And let me know if you guys have any questions. So I fold it. I'm going to move the phone in 1 second. I need to cut my strings off. In the back. I don't have my nice scissors. I don't know where I put them. Okay. All right. I feel weird that we didn't go over to like the serger area. My blankie. Isn't it so pretty, guys? I wish that you guys could post pictures and show me yours because I want to see yours. But see the top stitch, how I like it like right on the edge like that. And it's like that around the whole thing. So it's a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch, but it's not exactly 1/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna have to take a picture of that and I'll post that up on the site tomorrow. And now you guys can see it. But that's exactly how I do all of my blankets, and I do the loveys exactly the same way, except for obviously they're loveys, so they're a lot smaller. But yeah, if you guys embroider on them first before you pin them together. So that's why these are laid out like this, because I've cut them and now I need to embroider names on them. So after you cut out your piece, you embroider. So, yeah. What did that person say? Blankets take me about 2 hours on average for a crib size, or 3.5 to 4-ish hours for a twin size. But the cutting takes the longest, and I need to get a rotor cutter. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. Yeah, but I pre-cut all of my prints. So maybe the cutting, when I first get my prints in, take a while, but it saves in the long run. So I always pre-cut all of them because they're all the same size. And then like I from start to finish, I showed you guys like how to do that. And how long have we been on here? For almost 2 hours. But I'm explaining everything as I go and stopping. But yeah, from start to finish, blankets take me no time. They're super easy. Just the more you do them, the faster they get. And I think pinning for a lot of people, it takes a really long time. So if you get quicker at pinning, that'll take away a lot of time. And also just like getting your tension right, getting your stitch length right, knowing your fabric, and what you're using. And that's another reason why I stick to just the same fabric, because I hate going back and forth on my tension settings and all that, because you're messing with your machine every time you sew one, and then you do a different type and a different, just all the materials are always different, and so your machine reads them as something different, so you have to mess with it every time. And I would kept doing that in the beginning, and it would take me forever to figure out, and then I have to write it down which one used this tension or this stitch length and this and that. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do my favorite blanket material and just stick with that, and then just have that be my blanket, my signature blanket. And if somebody wants something different, then I just categorize that as a custom order. So good night, Sarah. Thank you, April. I'm going to grab my computer and I'm going to go move you guys over here, because this is where we like to sit and chat. And I can see better over here, and I think you guys can too. So let me turn this around first of all. Oh, wait. Wrong way. Sorry. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab my computer. I so wish that I can see your guys' blankets for whoever sewed along with me. I really want to see them. Okay. Grabbing my computer. Computer on wheels. And I gotta plug my phone in. My phone dies so fast, so that's why I keep having to like plug it in. Whoa, you guys almost fell over. Sorry. This was like one of the faster tutorials. I knew it would be. Okay. Why does it keep wanting to fall? It's like tilting. I don't want you guys to fall over. Okay, there we go. All right. What are we talking about? Let me refresh this. Okay. If you embroider, do you use tearaway or cutaway stabilizer? I use tearaway. So when I do it on the Minky, actually that cotton one that I showed you earlier and all of my Minky blankets, I use the same stabilizer. It's tearaway, but I layer it. So I use the sticky back stabilizer for my fast frames, and I think I've shown you guys in a couple of videos or lives how I do that. But anyway, I use the sticky back tearaway, and then I put water soluble stabilizer on top where the name is going to be embroidered. And then when I put the fast frame on the machine, I also, so it's the sticky back that it's on, and then I slide underneath the frame and in between the plate, and I put another layer of tearaway. So there's essentially 2 tearaways and then a water soluble stabilizer that is being used, if that makes sense. So I will be doing a complete video on how I make my levies. So I'll go into detail on the stabilizers and stuff on that. Yeah, the buffalo was actually super popular. I have a buffalo print. It's different than that one, but I use my for my clothing. It's more of like a gray background instead of a white or like an ash background. And I was like, I've been trying to have all of my prints available in my clothing and then my blankets. So pretty much everything, every item I sell, I want to be able to offer in any print that I have. So if someone sees a pair of bummies or leggings or rompers, but they want a blanket, I can also offer that blanket in that print. So that's why I go with Spoonflower, because you can choose any fabric, if that makes sense. Yes, Luxe Cuddle Fabric is the best. Can we post on your Facebook page? Yes, absolutely. I'm pretty sure you can tag me on there. I'm not sure. So what I do is I post on Instagram, and then there's a thing on Instagram where you can automatically post that post and it gets put on Facebook. So I check Facebook, but I'm more in tune with Instagram, if that makes sense. I just know how to use it better. And so if you have Instagram, I would I don't know, not suggest, but I'm on Instagram more. So if you have an Instagram, post it on there and tag me. And then I can put your picture on my page too, or in my stories. Animal print for me has been amazing. Like I mean, I love animals, but I never knew how popular animal print is. Like it is so popular. Every time I bring out a new print, um, it people go crazy over animal prints. This summer I want to insulate my garage doors, put lighting, and do something with the floors. Hubby said stop watching videos. Yes. I keep saying I want to put a wall right there where you guys can see my cars, because if I put a wall there, then we can like really put AC in here. I have a cooler in here, but it's just like a standard cooler. It's not AC. So it gets cool, but not like cool enough for Arizona. Arizona gets really hot, but it also gets really cold in here in the winter. So I want to block this in and make it more of like a workroom. I mean, it is a workroom, but you know what I mean. Like I want to make it like officially like insulated and indoors, not a garage. When you start, how much fabric do I buy? So when I first started, I would buy 2 yards of my prints, and then I would make, say I wanted to make a bummy or a legging or a romper or whatever I wanted to make with that print, I would make with that print, and then I would just save the rest of that fabric until I got orders with it. And then if I knew I only had like one or two outfits left for it, then I would order more. And then that got to ordering like from 2 yards to 4 yards, and then I went from like 4 yards to 5 yards, and then I jumped from 5 yards to 10 yards, and so it's just been picking up from there. So now I order 10 plus yards every time I order a print, so it's been getting a lot more. But I mean, that's just business. That's just what you have to, you want to look into the future, not what's happening now, because I've noticed when I buy for what's happening now, I'm always in a rut and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I need more. So, and then you're paying more shipping and more this and more that, and you're just like kind of like grabbing what you need instead of like thinking about what you really want and all, like taking your time with it. At least that's how I've noticed with myself. In the beginning, I was like frazzled, and now like I know what I need. Like I'm definitely not out of shirts, but I went through my inventory today and I'm ordering a bunch more because orders are coming in more frequently now, and I always want to have like at least 10 shirts of all the sizes I carry on hand, because if I get below that, it literally freaks me out. So, yeah. When you do applique on the Minky, do you iron it? I don't do applique on the Minky. On the Minky, I only do names because it's my blanket material. So I do keep my Minky scraps, and I will be doing applique with my scraps, but just like very simple designs. So I will probably be applying that the way that I apply embroidery vinyl. So you can heat the Minky, but very little. Like if I get Minky in and it's wrinkled, I'll heat it with my heat press at 315 for like 5 seconds, just real quick. Maybe even 3 seconds. Like it doesn't have to be. It's literally like silk when you heat it. It just like literally becomes wrinkle free. So I barely press it and all the wrinkles come out. So before I make a blanket, I always make sure it's nice and like flat and there's no wrinkles, because after I sew it with the faux fur, I can't heat it. So I always make sure it's wrinkle free before that. You have me so motivated. I can't wait to start, even though I'm broke now. Aw, everyone starts somewhere. Just start small. I mean, I started with this machine over here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just my Brother machine. It's the Brother Runway Project, limited edition project Runway. And it's a Brother. It's got however many stitches, but literally I use 2 stitches. I use straight stitch and zigzag stitch. I don't need all that other stuff. So I'm using this machine until it literally runs to the ground, and then I'm going to probably upgrade only that one because I love these Brother machines, my serger. But finishing this story, I'm probably going to upgrade to an industrial because I do sew every day, all day, and um, that machine has taken a beating and it's still living. So we'll see how long it lasts, but I'm going to have to upgrade soon. You're welcome, you guys. I like to share as much information as I can with you. I know we've all started somewhere. We're all learning together. I'm still learning. There's still a lot for me to learn, and every time I learn something, I like to share it with you guys. I know. And actually, the rompers are my bestseller. Like, it's good because they are my more pricier item for clothing, but they're my bestseller. So you can't get mad at that. Like, people love them. Oh, Dev, I just answered that. My best-selling clothing, I mean, it's very close. Like, leggings used to be my top seller, but right now I would have to say my rompers are my bestseller, and I think maybe that's because um, it's the colder weather. I know leggings are for colder weather too, but the rompers are basically universal. So they can wear them in the winter and in the summer. And it's a grow with me outfit. So it's Aram style, looser fitting, and I make my cuffs a little bit bigger so they can roll them if their legs are short, and then as they grow taller, they can unroll them so it lasts longer. So my rompers are very, very popular right now. But bummies would have to be, I think, my all-time bestseller because those things sell year-round. People don't care if it's cold; they're still buying bummies, and I think that's because they just wear them over their diaper and they're super cute. You can wear them under dresses, you can wear them like anywhere, just around the house. So people buy those things like crazy. Aw, thank you. You guys make me feel all fuzzy telling me how nice it is that I share my stuff with you. I love that I can share it with you guys. I want everyone. I want everyone to succeed in life. Like, I want you guys to take what I teach you or try to teach you. And I know that my, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I know that I don't know the right words to say all the time because I'm not a teacher and I'm not like educated in this field. I've taught myself everything, so I don't know the exact words and enunciation and everything, but I try my best. And I just want you guys to be able to learn something each time you watch me and to be able to take that with you and maybe teach somebody else what you've learned and run with it. And I want everyone to succeed. Good night. I've been in a rut this last 6 months, but tonight you were a breath of fresh air. Thank you for caring to share your expertise. Oh, I'm definitely not an expertise, but thank you so much. I'm really glad that I got you feeling good tonight. I have a brother and just started sewing last year. Best sewing machine for beginners because trust me, I knew nothing about sewing. Yes, Stella Bella. I'm assuming your name is Stella. Brothers are super user friendly, especially for beginners. I have had, well, I currently have 3 brothers, but I have had about 5 brothers. I just love brother, and I'm one to stick with what I like. And even though there could be a better one of these, I know this machine, it runs good for me. I've never had any problems with it. So if this broke tonight, I'd probably just get another one of these. Um, yeah. Thank you, Pia. What's better to use, a serger or sewing machine for Minky blankets? I've actually personally never used a serger on Minky. Everyone's been asking me that, so I'm kind of curious to try it and see if it's easier. But I've also been scared because I use this bad boy every day for my clothing, and I would hate for all that minky fur to get caught up in there. So I'm a little nervous on that, but I kind of want to try it. And also, I've only ever sewn it on my standard machine, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna go grab my water bottle real quick. If you guys have any more questions, just write them in there and I'll get right back to you. I'm just gonna grab my water bottle. I think I left it over here. Where did I put it? Here it is. There's enough success for us all. Yes, exactly. And that's what I meant earlier when I said that we can all make the same exact pattern or print. We use the same prints, we can make the same items, but everyone's are going to look different. Like if you know, like you can go on Etsy and see that everyone makes the same item, but they all look so different. Even like embroidered shirts, like we have same designs and same, you know, we all use the same blanks and stuff, but everyone's looks so different. And I love looking at other people's because just it's amazing to me how everyone has just different ideas. See, this is what my computer does. It literally just shuts down. I don't get it. I have like 5 computers because I use them for different things. I have this computer's for my video editing. I have another computer over there that's for my Etsy invoices. I have another computer that I do my shipping out of. This is my YouTube computer because it's bigger. It's very old, and so it's a lot bigger computer, so I can see because I have really bad eyes. It was great watching you as you made your blanket. Loved it. Thank you so much, Nellie. Found you recently and love you. Oh, thank you, Liz. That's sweet. Oh, trust me, I didn't know I could do this. Like, I didn't know I could do YouTube because I'm actually very shy. So this is very new to me. And also, I didn't know that I would be able to teach what I make, if that makes sense. I didn't know I would be able to explain it, and I didn't know if it would be like, I just didn't know if I would do it right, if I would be able to explain it the right way to you guys to be able to help you figure out what to do. What type of material do you use for your rompers? So all of my clothing across the board is organic cotton knit, and I get it from Spoonflower. I get all my blanket Minky and all of my clothing fabric from Spoonflower. Oh, okay, you do? Do you use the Minky and faux fur in there and it's fine? Yes, exactly. Women empowering women. I'm trying to come up with a really cool saying that like isn't out there yet about empowering women. Oh, see, Carmen, you are literally my computer person. So do I need to plug it in then? Okay, it's plugged in. Oh, cover stitch and sergers are so easy. Like honestly, sergers are easier to me. They're easier than regular machines. Like they are so smooth, especially because I sew clothing and so with knit material. I remember in the beginning before I had a serger, I would be making clothing on my machine, my regular machine, and I would get so frustrated because I would be using a walking foot, I'd be using stretch needles, I'd be using everything that I needed to use, and it still would give me problems. As soon as I bought this serger, bam, so easy. Okay, Carmen. Good night, Joanna. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I've sewn flannel with my serger in the very beginning. And I used to also do like the double gauze blankets, which I might bring back. I'm not sure yet. That's what this is right here. So I get this at Spoonflower as well. It's really nice. It's called Sweet Pea Gauze, and it's a little bit thicker, but it is really pretty, nice gauze fabric. And I might bring those back. I made swaddle blankets with this, so I might bring those back in the shop. I don't know, maybe. Thank you so much. Women power. Yes. Good night, Cindy. Thank you for coming. I hope that you learned something new tonight, and I hope that you are happy with the blanket that you made, if you made one. I know, right? I at least know of, I think, 6 people that bought the serger. But I think all the people that bought the sergers actually bought them at Walmart, which are a different, same brother serger, but they're a different style. That's not even the word. I don't know. But it's not the 1034D. I think it's the X. I'm not sure. Yeah, I actually got mine on Amazon. I got this and this together on Amazon, and I think mine on Amazon was around that price, like $199 or something. I'm not sure, maybe like 2 something. I can't remember. I got it like 4 years ago. I tried to order tags for my clothes and the items, and I was confused on what to purchase. So, what kind of tags? Like the kind of tags that I showed you on my blanket? Tags are kind of confusing. You just have to like envision what you want. And those are my second tags that I ordered, because the first ones that I ordered, I got them a little bit bigger. So the ones I have now are only 3/4 of an inch wide, and they're actually 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And my other ones, I think, were 1 inch wide, or one and I don't know. They were bigger, and I make all baby items, and so I wanted them smaller. And so I asked her if she can cut them down, and the smallest she could go was what they are right now, which is 3/4 of an inch. But they're actually perfect. They look good on my blankets. They look good on my clothing. The only thing I do not even put a tag on are my headbands, because I don't want that itching on the baby's head. And I always whoever orders a headband, it always goes with an outfit. So the outfit has my tag on it, so they knew who it's coming from. My cover stitch was around 400, I believe. I'm not for sure. It was definitely more than the serger, though. Yeah, different model. Sorry. Different. Did I say different style? It's been a long day. The blanket that we sewed tonight ends up being, after completely done, 27 by 35. Oh, yeah, okay, so I get them from 2 separate companies. They're the same color. They feel like the texture is the same. They're both organic, and the logo tags I get from Mountain Street Arts. I have them linked in my description. And the size tags I get from, I can't think, that's like Viking Labels or something. They're linked in my description as well. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Good night. Good night, Joanne. Thank you for coming. Yeah, Nicole, just look at my description and you can click on their link. And they both are from Etsy. So super easy. Just go to Etsy and put their name in there, and then you should find them. Finally, the shopper open here. Done some fabric shopping. Nice. It's so nice to get out. Getting ready back to sewing after 15 years. Wow, I did sewing when I was a teenager. I hope that I can finish a few items before my due date in 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, Joe. That's so exciting. I have 4 kids, but I loved being pregnant. I always say I would do it all over again, but we're done. Porting me. Good night, Stella. All right, ladies, if you all want to stay on, you're welcome to stay on. I have to get some work done. So if you guys want, I can just like put you up or leave you here while I do things and, you know, chat in between like normal. But I do have to get some orders done. I'm literally stacked up back there over up to almost 40 orders right now. So I got to get some out. And like when I get an embroidered shirt order, that's fine. It's just one shirt usually or 2 at the most. But when people order my clothing, it's multiple items. So it's not just, you know, that one thing. It's, you know, that order takes a lot of time because it's more than one thing, more than one piece. So it's just a lot and takes a lot of time. Good night, guys. Whoever's leaving, good night. Good night, CC. Thank you for coming. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on your way out if you haven't already. Oh, I got a thumbs down. I wonder what I did. It's bound to happen. I love chatting with you guys too. I kind of have like a live Q&A here soon where you guys can just ask me. I mean, you do it all the time anyway, but if you have like specific questions, then we can do it that night. Good night, Paulette. And good night, Patty. I'd like to think it was an error too, but it's okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go grab some orders. I guess I'll watch to see how many people are still here and who aren't here, and we'll do like a poll if you guys want to stay on or if you want to end the live here and go to bed. But let me know. Good night, Sonia. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to go figure out what I need to do tonight. This way so you can at least see what I'm doing. Let's see here. That needs to be cut. Okay, so this one, you guys can see me cut these out because this one she needs by a certain date and she paid for priority shipping. So she messaged me personally and was like, I need these by a certain date. Is there any way that you can get them to me like a rush order? And I said, absolutely. And she also lives in my state. So if I ship it, I'll get it to her literally in a day. But because I have all of these orders right here, like, so look at all these. I have so many orders and I have still stacked orders up over here. So I just, I just am honest with them and I say, if you need it in a rush, that's totally fine. But there's an option in my shop to pay for priority shipping because I am, I do orders as they come in. And if you need it by a certain date, then I have to put you at the front of the line. But that's not fair to others who have already ordered like a week ago because my shipping right now is 2 weeks out. And so it's not fair for them to have to wait on that. But if they paid for the priority rush shipping, just like anybody else does, like if I do that when I need fabric and I have to pay for rush shipping, you're expected to pay for that if you need something in a certain amount of time. So that's that. Okay, I do need to do this one. All right, I'm gonna get this one started over here. I wish I could hear the comments because I can't see them when I'm walking around. I am actually just pulling up a file. So what I do, you guys can't see me, but what I do when I get Lovey orders is I put my Lovey orders on this clip right here and I fold them in half and then I go through each one of them when I'm at the computer in the morning of every day. And I go to Embrilliance because that's the program I use for my embroidery. And I do all the designs in there at one time and I save them on my USB and then I upload them to my embroidery machine. And then that way, when I'm ready to do that order, it's already done. I don't have to like sit down and do it and then go do that and then sit down and do it and then, back and forth. It's just a lot easier that way. So that's how I do that. What are you guys saying? Good night, Rose. Gonna head to bed. It's midnight here. Oh my goodness. Go night night. Thanks for coming. How do you say your name? Ronnie or Rainy? Good night, Narrow. Oh wait, I think you're staying. Never mind. I take that back. Good night, Patty. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Oh gosh, Nara, the rolled hem presser foot, I gave up on that a long time ago, girl. I can't get that. Yeah, I gave up on that. I don't like that. Okay, so what I was saying is now I'm just at my machine and I am just looking for the name Willow. Not that one. Did I not put it in here? There it is. There's so many in here. What time is it here? It's 11 here. I'll work for a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to change my design set. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just changing it to my fast frames, which I use my C on that one. I'm going to have to change my frame altogether. But that's okay because I need to... This was just an extra one because I cut this one out and then I had extra fabric, so I just went ahead and cut this one as well. I just always do that just so I don't have to grab it and cut it next time. So my frame, I moved all my stuff around, so I'm like, where's my stuff? I hung it. I'm trying to get everything off of my table, like all of this I want to move so that I have this space to work on too, because it's getting to be a lot where I have like a lot on here, like all the time. So I use, this is my sticky back. So I get this from, I got this on Sewing Machines Plus. When I got my embroidery machine, the lady asked me everything that I needed, and I told her what I was going to be making and doing, and so we just went through and picked everything out, and I haven't had to order more because this right here was literally so big, and I haven't gone through it yet, so I haven't had to order it again, but I will reorder the same one probably. And I just cut it at like 7 inches or so. I just put this on here to hold it. And I like to leave a little room, and I'll show you why. So I usually cut it like right at 7 inches. And is my thing over here? Of course not. I just use my X-Acto knife. That's the word I was looking for earlier. X-Acto knife. I can never think of it on the spot. And I just cut it all the way across. And then I fold it in half, and then I get 2 out of this, so I can embroider 2 blankets out of this one piece that I just cut. And then you press it down, make sure it's nice and flat. And then I always put it on, so the tag is up here. And then when I put it on the frame, I put it on where I'm going to be doing opposite corner of the tag is where I do the name right here on the opposite corner. And I use the sticky back so that I can literally just stick the blanket down on it, and it's super easy to embroider on after that. And then the reason why I leave this extra right here is so that when I put, I'll show you, when I put the water soluble on there, and I ordered this from Amazon. It's in my description. I love this water soluble. It just comes on a roll, and this is what I use for all of my blankets. And I just cut it the same way. I just cut a strip down. It doesn't have to be like any certain, I usually do like 4 inches wide. And so I put it diagonal on here, knowing like the name's gonna go right here. I don't know the exact placement, but it's big enough. And then I literally just stick the stabilizer, because some people use pins to pin in here, and I don't know, I got frustrated with that, so I just leave my sticky back a little bit extra, and then I use that to place my water soluble on, if you can see. So some people put pins like in here to pin the water soluble down, but I just left an extra sticky back off the sides, and then I use that to stick my water soluble down on, and then it doesn't go anywhere, and I don't have to worry about it messing up. And so this is what I meant earlier. I use water soluble on the top, and then it's my blanket, and then I have the sticky back, which it's on, and then I'll use, I get these in by the sheet. They're right here. And I have them cut. I just usually take one sheet, because one sheet I can use multiple times. They're these big 12 by 12 sheets. And what I do is I just literally like fold them in half. And then I fold them again in half. And then I fold them again in half. So I have all of these layers. Out of one sheet of paper. That I can use. So all of these are good to go. And then this is what I put underneath. Are these ones good? Yeah. Ah! Catching on things. Okay. So then these I usually just put underneath here in my extra pile, and I grab them when I need them. But this is just regular tearaway, and when I put this on the machine, I just slide this underneath here. So the plate is under here, and then I just slide that in there. And so I have the regular tearaway, the sticky back, my print, and then the water soluble on top. But now I need to adjust my, I'll show you what I did. I marked my thing, my frame. This is my frame. And I am always doing shirts and blue. I know I marked it right here. So whenever I adjust it, I just have to unscrew this piece a little bit. And then I unscrew this piece back here. And then I just slide it over until I get to like right there. I know exactly where to put it, right on those lines. And it makes it super easy. And then I always just come over here on this side, make sure that one's tight, make sure that one's tight. And that's how I do it. I'm gonna put you facing here for a minute. There, okay. So now I put this on here. This is already good because I was just using it before the live. And then it fits in here perfectly. I just pull it back behind here. Make sure it's all on there nice. Turn my light on. And then I just make sure a 90-degree angle. I usually use like this one. This was the first one here. So I just grab it and I line my corners up on the blanket. Actually, I'm going to use the other one because it's easier for me to see. Okay. So this is the one I usually use. Put those away later. So this is the one I normally use because it fits on there really nicely, and I use this corner piece right here to find where this corner is. Right here is where my center point is for the name. That's how I know that's the center point. Can you guys see? It's kind of lagged, but that's okay. So I put it on the corner, and when I mean corner is the corner that I showed you, I line up with the corner of the frame. And then that point right there is what I'm lining it up to. So I'm going to go over here, close out of here, put it in embroidery status because that's the only way you can trace it. And then I'm going to go to, I always know, let's see, where is, so that lets me know that my frame is fine. It's not going to hit my frame. But now my number 1 is usually where the middle of the design is. But it's over too far and it's up too high. So I need to center it. So I'm going to move it. And then move it down a little. So now it's center. And so then what I do is I press the one where it's the very bottom corner on the left, and I check to see where it's going to be, and it's going to be right there. And then I do the same thing on the upper corner up there, and that's where that's going to be. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be perfect. So I'm good to go on that. Now I'm just choosing my color. I always use black on this one just because I love the way the black looks on this one. But I think I need to change the needle on the black because it was giving me issues before. So I'm going to change that needle real quick. And if I haven't shown you guys, I love these little teeth on them, if you can see. And it holds my needle really good. So it makes it easy for me to put the needle like up there and hold it instead of it like falling. I always drop it if I didn't use my tweezers. So I grab the needle, discard the needle, grab a new one. And these are the needles that I use. They're 65.9. I always use 65.9. I feel like those don't puncture my design, my shirts or my blanket fabric. I feel like it just does really well with this needle. You always want the eye of your needle to be facing the right way because it won't stitch out right if it's the wrong direction. So that's also what these tweezers are good for. They're good for twisting it whichever way and then holding it up there. All right. Okay, so I got my water soluble on. I'm good to go. I just need to I need to put my color in, so 10. Okay. I keep all my rulers over here, just out of the way of everything. I'll show you guys what it's doing. So my machine looks like, I don't know if you can see it. So it's named Willow. It's starting on the eye. Can you guys hear me okay and see me okay? Well, obviously you can see me right now. I'm like right in front of it. I'm just adjusting the... Alright, I think that's good. I'm gonna go read some comments really quick. Bye, Nero. Good night. Yes, fast frames are awesome for bling. Only thing I use. Yes, 65.9 ballpoint. Bye, Sandy. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Sorry, guys, if it's buffering. I don't know why it does that. Thank you so much, Jane. That was very sweet of you. Let's see. Good night, Sandy. All right, hopefully it's not buffering. I'm gonna go grab this fabric. Which one was it? So this one is actually my Planet Bummies, size 9 to 12. So this blanket needs to come over here. Planet Bummies. So this is my Planet material. So this is what I'm using. And actually, I always keep scraps underneath here on the bottom. And so I'm going to check here for scrap fabric just in case there's enough that I don't need to cut out a whole thing of it. So I usually go through this bin first before anything. So like here's some that I can use for something. Here's a little bit more. And a little bit more. I think that's about it. This goes in here. All right. So pretty. You always want to keep your water-soluble stabilizer in a closed container or bag, because if it gets any air in it, it will dry out. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it'll literally like crust. So you don't ever want to leave it out in the open. I have left like a small piece of it, which I forgot to put underneath there, but it looks fine, so whatever. But anyway, I've left a small piece of my water soluble out before, and then I went to go to use it, and it literally like crusted off. So don't ever leave it out. Well, okay. I didn't use tearaway because I got distracted and I forgot to put it underneath. But it still looks exactly the same. So I guess you can use it with or without. All right. I keep my bunny prints over here. And we're using 9 to 12. So let me find the 9 to 12. So I'm making sure the stretch is going the right way. That's what I'm doing right here. Not going to be enough. But I can get my legs up. I can get my cuffs out of this one piece right here. I can't do anything with this, so I'm just going to throw it. I hate throwing it, but it's not big enough to do anything with. So this is done. And what I'm doing here is just prepping it for the serger. And then this, I can't do anything really with that. I can make like a cuff with that. Stretch goes this way, so I got to make sure the planet is going the right way, stretch is going the right way, and then I cut. So is it better to... So I could do a waistband with this piece, but then I would have all this extra that would be wasted when this piece pretty much fits this whole length right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out instead. I'm always trying to find ways to make the most of my fabric because it is very expensive and I hate wasting it or using it the wrong way. So I'm always like moving my stuff around, trying to figure out the best way to do it. But like these pieces, you can't do anything with them. And then this piece I'm saving because I can use this as 2 of my nursing pads. They are 4-inch circles, so I can get 2 nursing pads out of this right here. Same thing with this piece right here. So these will go for nursing pads, which I also have a bin down here that I keep boy scraps for nursing pads, and I just throw it in here. And I know that those pieces are big enough for that. So that's how I do that. Okay, let's see. So turned out pretty good for forgetting to put stabilizer underneath. So then I just carefully pick away the water soluble. And then I'll show you guys what I do for the little pieces that don't go away. I need my tweezers. Where are my tweezers? So I use my tweezers to get out the little pieces that are like in the holes. And then with this black thread, you can see the water stabilizer like in between the thread a little bit, and I don't like that. So what I do is I take a microfiber cloth and I don't spray directly on the fabric. I'll show you what I do. I'll move the phone over here in a second. And I'll show you what I mean by how you can see it. Okay. I think my phone's charged enough. I can take it off the charger for a second. Okay, so see, I don't know if you can tell, like you can kind of messy right now because there's like water soluble stuck and I can't get that out. I don't want to rip the fabric. So I just kind of leave it. Little pieces like that I can get out, I'll get out. But then like these other pieces in here, I can't get that. So what I do is take this rag, which is for that, and then I just use my washcloth, this microfiber, and then I use my spray bottle and I spray on here instead of on the fabric. And I just use my finger and slightly, and I don't go down because the thread is going sideways when it embroiders. So I go the way of the thread. So my W, I follow the thread is going, if that makes sense. So these swirls are going a different way than this down here. So I just follow the way of the thread. And then the water literally just takes it right off. And if you need more, just put more on. And then I try to wet this piece a little bit just to get it out, and it gets like gunky because that's why it's water soluble. So when it gets the water on it, it literally turns to like mush. Okay. I just got these new applique scissors. I don't like them to cut out my appliques, but I do use them to cut my little threads. They are so sharp, they snag my shirts. But because they are so sharp, they're really nice to use with little threads. So like this little piece of thread right here, it'll get right down in there. So it's really, really nice to use for like little threads. And then on the back of it, I'm going to get all that. So like all these little threads, this is what I use it for. I just cut them. I don't cut them all the way down because you don't ever want to cut them all the way down, but I just trim them. You guys, my eyes are so bad right now. So these are super sharp. So then I just peel this off gently. I don't tear it because I don't want to ruin the blanket. Then I just take it out and I tear it, and I just carefully go around the name, holding the embroidery so it doesn't like pull it. You don't want to pull it. And I don't take all those little pieces out, just these big pieces. This I'll take out. And then I'll just leave that. It washes away, so it's fine. And then that is the embroidered name. It's kind of wet, so it looks a little bit darker and shiny, but that's it. You can see that. Can you see that? So pretty. So there's one, and then tomorrow I'll cut the fur out. And so after this is the, I don't want to show you the front, but this is their slip. So let me move this up really quick so you can see me a little bit. So this is their slip that it's in, and I have like all of what they need. And then in the back right here, I have their other item that they ordered. And then I have their blanket that I just embroidered their name on. And so now what I do is I just put this in here, and now I know that it's ready to be done. So I can complete this order tomorrow after I cut the other piece to it. But I usually like to do all the blanket embroidery at one time. That way I can use the frame all at the same time. But I'm going to turn you guys this way now so you can see what I'm doing here. Nothing crazy. I do make my own patterns. This, a lot of people have asked me about. This is like an icy blue color. I got this material at Joann's, actually, in the quilting section. And it is just a pattern template, and you can cut it. So with my bummies, they're so small, I just use this. And for my bigger patterns, like my leggings and rompers, I use the merino vinyl that's listed in my description. I get that on Amazon, and I get it in a big roll. So when I'm done cutting this, I can show you if you guys are interested. But I do like these because you can see, I mean, like both of them, you can see through them. But these are a little bit more, they're thicker. So the vinyl, you have to be careful because when you first start cutting patterns, it's awkward. And we all like cut through our patterns in the beginning. And so the vinyl is easily cut through. This, not so much. It's a little bit thicker. So that's why I really like these. Okay, so now I don't have enough of the fabric, the leftovers that I chose out of the bin under there. So I got these 3 pieces done, but I still need to cut these 2 pieces. So I'm going to have to cut a little bit of the fabric off of the bolt. So what I do is, it's going the wrong way. So I always like to face it up. My brother rolled it on opposite, so it's okay, we can still do it. So what I do is, normally it's on the fold, but I always told him, like, because this looks like this one looks like it would be bigger than this, right? If they're up to each other. But really it's not, because it's on the fold. And then this is on the fold. So if they're both on the fold, this one's actually bigger. So I take the bigger piece and I just cut a straight line all the way across. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to waste a lot of fabric doing that. But really, I'm not, because I get so many orders of bummies that I'll just use them for bummies. Or nursing pads, or whatever else I get orders for. So I never waste my fabric. Trust me. It is way too expensive to even waste. So then I have this long piece right here that is the same length as what I need for my bummy, and then I just fold it over, making note of where this white strip is on here. I don't know if you can see that, but there is where what they left on here, that white strip. Sometimes my brother will cut it off so he doesn't like mess up and cut into that. But I know it's there. It's always there, so I just make note of it. And you can double check. So like I need to move it out more. Just a little bit. And now it's perfectly fine. So it looks like I'm wasting all this, but that's all the white part. And also I know that it's on the stretch because that's the way that I cut it. So the way that I cut it, you always want the stretch to be going the length of the body. So this is, if you think about it, shorts, when you fold your laundry, you fold them in half long ways. And so the stretch is on the waist going this way around the body. So you always want to make sure the stretch of your fabric is going that way too. Can't use those pieces, so I'm tossing them. There's my other part. So now I just need, and I always like to cut my waistband on a straight edge. So this is going that way. So I'm lining the fold up to the top of this and making sure that the white is not getting in there. That's what I was doing. All right, I can't do anything with that. So I always waste a little bit when I'm doing the waistbands. There's nothing I can do about it. You're always going to waste a little bit of fabric here and there, but I try not to waste a ton. Okay, so this will go down here. This will go over here. All right, so now I have a waistband. I always keep my patterns nice and tidy so that they're always together. And I always use my little Wonder Clips, or I got these on Amazon, so they're just like Wonder Clips, but they're not technically called Wonder Clips. But I use my clips to keep all of my patterns together, and then I keep them in a bin over here on the other side of the table. And I just have them in order by what size they are. And that is pretty much it to the bummy. So this is the back, and if you notice, the pattern looks like it could be non-directional, but actually the planet needs to be facing the right way. So you got to make sure when you cut them that they're on the right way, or you're cutting it the right way. So now this just gets taken over to the serger, which I'm not probably going to do right now. unless you guys really want to see me set these up really quick. And then this extra piece I'll just put into the bin down here that says boy scraps for clothing. So that's how I know the difference between boy scraps for nursing pads and then boy scraps for clothing. And then I have them all labeled for whichever they go to. Okay, so since my machine is set for blankets right now, I'm gonna go ahead and stitch out this other one. I'm gonna put it like that so you can see me. This is the blanket that I was going to do tonight, but I needed to embroider a name on it, and I didn't want to have you guys sit through that earlier, so I just decided to do a different one. So I'm gonna go ahead and stitch out the name on it so I can do it tomorrow. The hardest part about these is getting the stickies off. Okay, so this is why I do it a little bit bigger. I'll show you for the big blanket. I don't know why I put this away. I need to get another piece out. Man, my allergies are insane today. You guys, I really do not work this slow. It's just almost midnight and I have literally been working since this morning. It's been a long day, so I'm moving really slow right now. But I really wanted to get these blankets done so I can just knock them out tomorrow. So for my blanket, my big crib blankets that want to be embroidered, I do the same thing except for my lovey blanket. So if this was a lovey, I would line up to the edge of this silver plate right here on the frame from top to bottom. The edge is lined up with the bottom. You guys can't see that. So the edge, let me point it down. So if this was a lovey, the edge of the blanket is lined up with the edge of the silver plate on the bottom as well. Now for my big blanket is I try to line silver line up on, I can see through this paper, it's probably hard for you guys to see it, but I line it up on the grid line right here and right here. So I make sure that I leave the blanket over 1/2 inch on the bottom and the top. So there's a 1/2 inch right there that I leave it over, and then there's a 1/2 inch on this side. And the reason how I can tell is right here where this corner meets. So I need to scoot it up a little. So right there where that corner meets. And then I tack it down to the sticky back, right? And it usually like covers the end, like barely, like where you can press it down. So I usually, like, sometimes I'll measure it on there, but sometimes I'll just press it down in the middle and then I'll just kind of go over. Every day is different is how I feel like working. And I know how it embroiders. So on my machine, this side is always a little bit more up and closer to the edge than this side. So I always leave the bottom part a little bit shorter. So it's not exactly the same on both sides. But yeah, I've done this so many times that I know it's going to be fine. But I usually put the name like right about here. And I always make the name a little bit bigger on these blankets compared to my Loveys, if that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, I don't really like the way that's placed, so I'm going to redo that real fast. Like I said, I am a perfectionist, and sometimes it hurts because I'm crazy about things sometimes. But anyway, that looks better. So then the name is going to go like right about there. This side won't get tacked down because there's no sticky, but it'll be fine. The only thing with this is I have to babysit this one because there is so much going on up here. I have to babysit it. So that's the only part. Okay, now I'm going to point you guys back up so you can see what I'm doing. Is that good? I haven't read any comments. Are you guys good? Good night, Rose. I just saw that. Let's see. Sorry, just going through some comments really quick. So you are using cotton on that Lovey, but I have seen you using Minky also. Yeah, so I explained earlier in the live that that is the only cotton print that I own. Not that I own, but that I sell. All of my other ones are Minky. So this print right here that I just showed you guys with Willow's name on it, that's the only cotton print that I use. Everything else is this Minky material. So. And the reason why I have that one is because it's just been such a popular print that why would I stop selling it, you know? So I've kept it and it just continues to sell. So I just keep it. So like I said, this one, you know, it's an easy stitch out, but I have to babysit it because otherwise this blanket will get caught underneath, and the way that I hoop it, I know you can hoop it this way, but I don't want it to touch my ground and I'll have to babysit it either way. So I'd rather just do it facing forward so I can see what the name looks like and just be good with it. So I'm not going to forget to put my tearaway. I put it underneath. So I stick it underneath here. And I grab my ruler. And I need to go and find what name this is. And I still line it up on the same thing that I lined it up before, but now my fabric is laying a little bit over the edges. So on this blanket, I left it over about 3/4 of an inch on the bottom and about 1/2 an inch on this side. Because like I said, I know how it stitches out on here. So this side is always a little bit higher. So that's just how I do it. So yeah. What is the name on this one? It's over here. So this one is Maverick. So I'm going to go into my USB and I'm going to find Maverick. I've already saved it from earlier. There we go. Okay, so there's Maverick. And now I'm going to choose my color really quick. And I don't want to use black because this is too dark. So I think I'm going to use, I've never embroidered a name on this one. So I'm trying to see what color I want to use. I think I'm going to do gray, like dark gray. I think that'll look good because if I use black, I don't know. I think it will be too dark. But I'm using black backing. Let me see where the name's going to go. So it's going to go right there. Right there. It's literally center. So we're good on that. Guys, what color should I do? Should I do gray, black, or gray or black? I have a really pretty dark gray. I think the gray that it's darker than that one. I already have it on there. Do you guys think I should do gray or black? Good morning from the Netherlands. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to show you it. Which one should I do? Should I do gray or black? Because it's kind of like gray in here a little bit. Like these pieces. I was thinking dark gray too, because I think if I do black, match the backing, but I think it'll be too dark. So, okay, I'm going to do gray. All right, so 10, 9, 8. So it's number 8. Okay, I have my stabilizer underneath, my sticky back, and my water soluble. It looks really pretty. It like shines through the black. So like I said, that's the only like downfall about doing these blankets. They're so slippery that I have to babysit them. And then I can't work on anything else while I'm doing this. But I don't mind right now. I don't really feel like doing other things right now anyway. And I learned that the hard way because I didn't know that I had to babysit it, because my loveys I can just put on and walk away. My shirts I can just put on and walk away. But I did my first blanket a while back, and I walked away to my serger and started sewing. And then all of a sudden I look over and this back piece had like slipped down, and so it started like stitching over it. Luckily I was able to save it, but now I'm like too afraid to leave it. But of course when I stand here, like nothing happens. It's always when you walk away. Show you guys. you? I think it looks so pretty. So with my blankets, whenever anybody orders them on my Etsy shop, I have 2 options. And I give them choices of, because when you give them too many options, they like get confused. So I literally have, under every blanket and under every lovey, there's an option for no name, which is just the regular price. And then I have a print, which is one price. And my embroidered names are $10 more. So it's my original price and then the $10 more with a print, or underneath that is cursive. So they get 2 options. They get print or cursive. And it's an upcharge of $10 to put their name on it. And I've never had anybody say they don't like the font. But I mean, if I'm working personally with somebody with it that has messaged me about like a birthday or a theme or this or that, like I'll forward them pictures and get their approval and stuff. But if it's just somebody who has ordered this blanket, I don't. They just literally put finish, print name, personalization, Maverick. That's his name. And so then I literally just choose a print that I think goes best with the print that they chose. So they chose cactus. So I just did a standard thick print. And that's how I do it. And then if it's a girl and it's cursive, I usually mostly use the Stitchtopia serif font, but I mix them too. So I have gotten, oddly, a lot of names that are 2 separate names. And so some people have said that they charge more for 2 different names, or they charge per name. I don't do that. I just charge $10. 1 name, 2 names. It's the same for me. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna be careful it doesn't snag. So yeah, that's how I do it. And I mix the fonts. Sometimes I just like mess with it and see what I like, and that's how I do it. So I just tear that off. I'm gonna put you guys down here so you can see what I'm doing. Turned out super cute. So I'll show you what it looks like. It looks backwards to me on here, so hopefully it's not backwards to you guys. But I think the dark gray looks really, really good and very like, I don't know if sleek is the word, but just very nice. And I'm always very careful with my Minky because I don't want to snag it. So I'm just very lightly going underneath of it and getting out all the stabilizer. And it will wash away with the first wash that they do because it's water soluble. but I do not use that technique that I showed you on the Lovey, where I get it wet on the microfiber and then rub it. I don't do that on the Minky because when you get this Minky wet, it'll almost like fuzz up. And I don't like that because then I don't want the letters to look all fuzzy or weird. So I don't. I just try my hardest to get all the water soluble out, which I have done, and it looks super nice. So I'm gonna put it this way so you guys can. Pretty, huh? I think if I did black, blended it too much. I think it goes really well with this. You guys like it? I love it. All right, so then with these, same thing. You just, but there's now an extra layer, which should have been on the other one too, but I forgot to put it on there. So I just tear one layer off at a time, basically. So this is the tearaway that I used on the back. And then now I'm going to cut my threads. And I don't cut them all the way to the bottom because I don't want to cut the knot where it ties off on. I just cut right above it. And this is going inside the blanket, so you don't have to worry about taking all those little pieces out either. So I just get as much as I can off, and then I leave it the rest. So now when I go to sew it, see how I left more on this side than this side, but it still ended up being equal? You can't see what I'm talking about. So what I was saying, now that you can see, is on the frame, when I put it on the sticky back, I only had like this much hanging off the edge, but I had like this much hanging off this edge. I know my machine, so I know where it's going to print out at. And so even though there was more hanging off the edge on the bottom, it still came out even on the sides. So when I go to sew it, I always do like a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So then it's going to, that's my 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 of an inch, whatever, you know, you get what I mean. So after I sew it, the name is going to look like that. So it's going to sew, and each side it's going to be 45-degree angle from the corner up. That's how I do it. So now I have this blanket to do tomorrow. And then it looks like that. Can you guys see that? No. So then it looks like that. So it's not huge, but it's not too small. You can still see the name. I don't like it giant. I think it looks weird when they're like super big. So there's that. All right. So after I finish with the embroidery part of the blanket, which I left over here, I now take this and I put it inside of here like that, so that I know that is done, and I set it right here. These need to be worked on tomorrow. And so this one I'm waiting on. You guys, I can't wait to show you it. this one. This is a new print, so I'm talking about a new print coming in. Okay, so I do have another one to do, but I don't think I'm going to do it right now because my eyes are killing me. This is off, and this is off. So I'm going to shut this down for tonight and be done. I think I'm going to sew these bummies and then call it a night. I'm going to move you guys with me. My computer turned off again. You guys have any questions? I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Or are you guys just working? My computer's not working. Yeah, some people do it in the middle too, and that's fine. It looks perfectly fine either way. I just do it at an angle, and I just use my ruler, and I do that the same thing, the same way every time, and it turns out the same on each one. I just line my corner up with my fast frame like that, and then I stick the angle of that ruler, and I know exactly where that line is, and I line my needle up. I know that my machine always traces with the number 1 needle, and so I take the number 1 needle and push it down, and if it was over here, but I know the middle point is right here, I just drag it over until it's lined up, and then that's how I know it's center. My computer shut down, so that's what I'm doing right now, if you're wondering. Am I buffering with you guys, or am I good? It's not connecting on my computer, but my phone says it looks good. You guys, I'm so short, I have to be like right up against the table. Okay. I'm doing these because they need to go out tomorrow. So when I do my nursing pads, it's a little bit thicker. So I adjust this last one to between a 3.5 and 4. But when I do my regular clothing, I have it at a 4.5. So I forgot to change it, but it's fine. Because I'm only doing one right now, and I wouldn't even do this one right now because I like to do a bunch of them at one time, but this one needs to go. She specifically paid for rushed shipping. So it's late at night. Normally I would be doing something different, and so I want to get this one done so I can, the first thing in the morning, get this out in the mail to her so that that's off my shoulders and I don't have to worry about it. And I know that it's going to get to her on time. So this doesn't have any of the planet. It has the, the planets, but the one that has the planet around it, I don't know what it does. So like this one is the one I'm worried about. So that has to be facing down, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm looking for on the print. You guys are getting the real raw me tonight, like the tired Amber. My voice is all like not loud like normal, a little bit cracky. It's been a long day. But I hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial. I was a little more chipper in that. I knew I had to work tonight, so a little bit at least to get prepared for tomorrow. I always like to do my embroidery at night because my husband works out here in the garage and he's on phone calls, and he tells me it's fine, but I just feel horrible when my machine's going off super loud and he's on like calls and stuff, and he's like, it's fine, they can't hear it. I'm like, yeah, right. So I just feel really bad. So I like to do my embroidery at night and get prepared for the next day. So like tonight I did those blankets. Now I can sew them tomorrow and I won't have to worry about putting the names on them. And then I just do that every night. Is it buffering? Good morning, Maria. It is, I guess, morning time for us now too, or for me anyway. Hi, Angelica. This is a long live. I hope that my microphone doesn't die. How long have we been on here? Almost 4 hours? I think it dies around 4 hours. So I'm going to have to get off of here soon. Otherwise, my microphone's going to die and cut off like it did last time. So if my microphone dies, I'm sorry. And I'll say good night now, because we're at 3 hours and 45 minutes right now. I'm going to continue, but if it dies, I just want you to know I didn't hang up on you guys or push the end button. I think a few lives ago, or like one of my first or few lives, it happened, it cut off, and I started a new one, but I couldn't figure out like what happened. And then I realized that I guess my microphone that I use only lasts a certain amount of hours, and I didn't think about that. And every time I go live for like 4 hours. I don't know how. I don't plan it that way. It just always ends up being 4 hours. So I'm sure all of you that are on here right now that know me and my lives, you know you're going to be here for a while. Or a lot of people come on and then they're like, okay, I'll watch the rest tomorrow, or they like break it up because it's so long. But honestly, the work that I do, like making clothing, if you guys make clothing, you know it just takes time. So it's not that I'm like trying to be on here forever. It's just everything, each specific item takes a little bit. It's like, you're building it from scratch. So it takes a while. And you get faster as you do it, but it still takes a while, no matter how long you've been doing it. always tuck my strings in, you guys know that. It's actually like therapeutic to me. I don't know why, I'm weird, but whenever I get done sewing a piece, I always tuck my strings in. Still going strong. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. What are you guys making that are on right now? Are you guys working? What are you all up to? These bummies are so easy to sew up, you guys. If you haven't made them, you should try and do it. I love them, and they're such a good seller. Like, they're done. I just have to press them and put a tag on them, and that's it. They're ready to be shipped out. My heat press isn't on. If you're new here, I don't use an iron. I use this iron right here for my appliques when I need to press it down. But other than that, I don't use an iron. I use a heat press. And now I'm gonna move over here and put my tags on. I'm gonna move over to this machine right here and put my tag on. Just googly eyes at your work. You're so funny. You're watching at work. Well, thank you guys for, I know this isn't the most entertaining live that I've had. I have cords everywhere right now. What's happening here? There we go. Yeah, so I'm a little quiet right now. I've just been working all day, and I had a live earlier because we've been on for a really long time. And so I'm just kind of like winding down, about ready to go in. I'm hoping my mic doesn't quit on me before I get to say goodbye to you guys. So I'm going to try to sew this tag on really quick. I know that these are a 9 to 12 month. And these are my little tags that I use. You guys can see them. But I just do a little tag on every item. I like to just add that for them. Because I know I've gotten like some items on like Amazon that don't have tags on them. And it's like, why? You need to know what size they are. So I keep all my little tags with my logo on in here, this little dish. I have girl ones and boy ones. My boy ones are all black, so they're monotone, and then or monocolor, whatever that word is. And the girl ones have my pink logo on them, which I thought were too girly. So that is why I got the second. For the boys, I didn't want them to have pink flowers on their items. And then if I have like a gender neutral, I'll use the gender neutral outfit. I'll use the black tags. So this is the outfit. Or bummy that I just did. I just need to press them, but see how the planets are all the same way. So like this is on the bottom, and then this one is on the bottom as well. And then I don't think the cuffs, yeah, the cuff has like a tiny one, but you can see it's on the bottom. So you have to really pay attention to like the placement of, these ones are the most confusing one that I have, just because it does look so similar that if I put this, like, who knows if they would be able to tell, but I know I can tell if it's on wrong. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Do you guys have any questions before I get off? Those are fun to make. There's so many babies coming. I know. And I actually do. I love making them because they're such a fast sew up. Like, I sewed them really slow just now just because I'm kind of like winding down. I'm just in slow motion right now for some reason. My allergies are bothering me. My eyes burn. But these literally can take you 15 minutes. Like, they're so easy. And actually even cutting them out is so fast because they're such small pieces. Even like up to the 18 to 20, I go up to 18 to 24 months in these. And even those pieces are only like this big. Like, they're so small. So my romper pieces are huge. And so it takes, a little bit of time. And plus there's 4 different pieces to the romper body. There's liners, there's the body pieces plus the cuffs. So it takes a lot of time to cut those ones and then make those ones. The start to finish time on a romper would be like 30 minutes probably, maybe 25. But these are like 15 minutes tops, like so fast. I just bought a pattern for them. I can't wait to make them. Yes, they are so sweet. And if you have a shop, they're such a good item to put on your shop. Everybody loves a bummy. Making bib, burp cloths, and blankets. Nice. So you're in work mode right now. I don't know. Sometimes I stay up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, but my allergies have gotten the best of me today, and I just need to go shut my eyes. So I am going to call it a night, and I wanted to say thank you one more time to all you guys. I will be back on Monday with a more energetic Amber for a regular live. So tonight was my tutorial mixed in with a regular live, but next Monday I'll just be doing my orders, doing my thing. I'll be able to explain more to you guys and talk to you more and chat with you more, and I'll just be probably more into it. So tonight, I'm sorry I was kind of low energy, but yeah, I'm just thankful for all you guys for being here this long. There's still 64 of you on here, which is amazing. I love you all so much, and I'm so thankful for you guys. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do that. I do upload videos once a week. I do lives once a week, and I'm working on a video right now for you guys. And I have written down like a schedule of videos to do. So if you guys ever have any comments or input on what you would like to see, just message me. You can reach me on Instagram. You can reach me on Facebook. You can email me. You can comment on this video or any other videos on what kind of videos you want to see. I know lovies are extremely wanted, so I'm going to make a video from start to finish on that and be very detail oriented on that one because those are the top runner of video that is wanted right now. So that will probably be my first one coming out. But yeah, I have a lineup of them. So if you ever have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to let me know. And yeah, I will be here next week. This week I debated on doing impromptu live just because I had a lot of orders to do and I like to feel like I'm working with someone instead of just working by myself every day. So if I ever pop on and do an impromptu live, I hope you guys can join. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you guys next Monday. Have a good morning or night, whichever it is for you guys. And I love you guys all so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Goodbye.